Welcome to Evolving Into Her. I'm Ashley Hope, and this is your weekly check-in to get out of your head, into your body, and back into alignment with the version of you who's already living the vision. So grab your favorite cup of tea, settle in, and let's get into the show. Hey girl, hey, welcome back to Evolving Into Her. Per usual, I'm so glad you're here. I am your host, Ashley Hope, aka your big sis, your favorite cousin, yo, best friend in your head, okay? On this journey of becoming, of healing, of evolving, of softening into the woman God created you to be. Before we dive in today, I just want to pause and say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for listening week after week. Thank you for sharing these episodes with your homegirls, with your cousins, with your coworkers, because the way y'all have been spreading this podcast is wild, okay? I see it in my DMs, my emails, I see it in the reviews, and we're at 1,000+ downloads per week, which is small but mighty, okay? Especially since we just started a few months ago. I'm so proud, and I'm so grateful that y'all keep showing up. As a matter of fact, I want to read one of the reviews because it perfectly captures what this space and this community is all about. And the review says, a close friend shared Ashley's podcast with me during a transitional and dark season within my life. Not only does each episode feel like an audio hug, Ashley provides reminders and tools to help continue on your journey, even if things feel uncertain. I'm so grateful for her transparency and willingness to show up and pour back into her audience with intention. This podcast was needed. Thank you, Ashley. And that is from Danny Yelly 94 on Apple Podcasts. First of all, Danny Yelly, girl, thank you so much for leaving me a review. And to know that you're new here and you took time to leave me a review, you took time to pour back into me. Baby, I pray that that love and that intention, that thoughtfulness, that care is returned to you tenfold. But this right here, her review, her sentiments that she shared, this is what I mean when I talk about divine connection. Somebody felt seen, and she in turn sent the episode to her homegirl, and now she's walking through her own season with a little more peace, a little more perspective. That's what this community is about. That's what evolving into her is. So if the show has been speaking to you like that, if you've been feeling these conversations in your spirit, please take a moment to leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. The written part is what helps other women find us. And when you do leave your review, send a screenshot of it to hello@ashleyhope.co, and I'll send you my soft life frequency subliminal as a thank you. This is one of my favorite tools to help you soften your nervous system, to quiet the noise, and to expand what you believe is possible. Okay, so now that we've got our gratitude moment out of the way, let's settle in and get into today's topic, because I've been noticing something online for the past few years, but especially in the dating space. Most posts, most content, most conversations around dating, it feels like a masterclass in how not to get played, how to spot the love bomber, how to decode mixed signals, how to tell if he's emotionally unavailable by the way he types hey. And listen, I get it. Some of it's helpful. Some of it gives language to what, you've been through. But here's what I keep saying over and over again. When you lead with what you don't want, sister, you often end up attracting the very thing you're trying to avoid. I see it all the time, especially in the comments of these conversations and these posts. It's a bunch of women trauma bonding over the same kind of pain. And it may feel like community because you feel seen, understandably, but under the surface, it's just a loop. And the more you rehearse what went wrong, the more you talk about it, the more you harbor over it, the more your brain starts scanning for it again. And you don't mean to, but your energy starts saying, show me why I shouldn't trust you. And then it does. Then that person does. So today we're unpacking that. We're talking about what happens when you lead with defense, when your energy says, I don't want instead of I desire, and how that subtle shift changes everything, not just in dating, but in every area of your life. And of course, we're bringing in some neuroscience, some energy, Whole lot of truth, okay? Because you can't heal in defense mode. It just is what it is. Sister, take a breath with me. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. And let's talk about what it looks like to lead with desire instead of fear, and how to finally become a clear signal for the kind of love and life you actually desire and deserve. Grab something you can sip slow, and let's get into the show. So I'm sure you've noticed, unless you've been living under a rock, but there's a whole culture of defense happening online. So most videos, most posts, especially when you're speaking on dating and relationships, it feels like a warning. Like, girl, don't get played. Don't ignore the red flags. If he does this, run. If he does this, then do this. 5 signs that he's a narcissist. Protect your peace at all costs. And like I said before, I get it. Some of that advice comes from good intentions. Women have been through a lot. We've been lied to. We've been disappointed. We've been ghosted. We've been breadcrumbed. And when that happens enough times, protection starts to feel like safety. And you really start thinking, if I can just stay 3 steps ahead, I won't get hurt again. If I just keep my head on a swivel, he won't try to get over me, or he can't play me. But what I've been realizing is, it's one thing to protect yourself, and it's another thing to live in protection mode. And that's a lot of what's being taught online right now. And it's not helping women open up. It's teaching them how to bracing themselves for disappointment, for pain, for trauma, for getting played. It's not about boundaries. Y'all got whole barricades up. And when you move like that for too long, even healthy, happy, whole, fulfilling love starts to feel like a threat. And you can feel it if you're being honest with yourself. When you scroll and you come across these posts, you can almost feel the tension in the content. Like, the tone is sharp. The advice is urgent. The comments are full of women trading stories about being disappointed and being hurt. And instead of finding healing, it's like we're finding validation for our fears and our pains and our traumas. It's a community built on survival. And I'm going to tell you this, sis, survival might keep you alive, but it doesn't help you thrive. That's a bar. And that's really what I mean when I say you can't heal in defense mode, because when you live in this constant state of, oh, I'm not about to get played, girl, you're not actually leading from a place of peace and your discernment. You're leading with your pain. And your energy says, prove to me that you're different, even if your words say something else. So you show up with your guard halfway raised already. You smile, but you're scanning. You laugh, but you're listening for tone shifts. You're not present. You're constantly trying to predict what's next and stay 2 or 3 steps ahead of them. You're evaluating text messages and reading between the lines to figure out the deeper meanings, when a lot of times it's not even that serious, okay? And the crazy part is that the other person can feel that energy. You think that you're being low, but the other person can feel it. They may not be able to name it, but their body registers it. And now y'all are both tense, on edge, trying to figure each other out instead of just being. And you leave the date saying, oh, he was awkward. And he leaves saying she felt closed off. Like, I can't get a read on her. And neither of you realize you were just caught in a nervous system loop, and it wasn't personal. But see, that's the part people don't talk about enough, how your brain and body work together in these moments. So when you say, I don't want my time wasted, your brain doesn't just process the don't. It hears the time wasted and it focuses on the time wasted. That's how the reticular activating system works. It filters your world based on what you focus on. So now, even before you sit down for this date, your brain is scanning for signs that this might be a waste of time. You're reading his tone, his outfit, his posture, what he's saying, what he's sharing, looking for clues. And the gag is, you think you're being discerning, but really your brain is just collecting evidence to confirm what it's already expecting. That's why sometimes even when a man is showing up right, you still feel off. You still feel like something's off. You're not reacting to him. You're reacting to the memories your body hasn't released yet. It don't got nothing to do with the man in front of you. And I'm not saying awareness is bad. I've always said awareness is a beautiful gift. Awareness is healing. But baby, when your awareness is rooted in fear, it becomes hyper-vigilance, okay? You start to see threats where there aren't any. You start to interpret everything through the lens of, I've been here before and I know how this ends, or my favorite dating coach online warned me about this. And that's when dating stops feeling like a discovery, an experience, when it stops feeling fun, and it starts to feel like damage control. You're not learning someone, getting to really know them. You're managing risk. And that energy feels normal now because it's so common. The algorithms are full of it. We've made defense mode look like discernment, but they are not the same. Discernment is quiet, it's grounded, it's peaceful, it's confident, it has a certain ease, a certain je ne sais quoi. Defense is anxious, it's tight, it's reactive, it's judgmental. And I think that's why so many women online feel drained. They're watching video after video, trying to stay safe in their dating experience, but not realizing those same videos are reinforcing the fear that they're trying to escape. And you leave social media with a list of things to avoid, but not a vision for what to create. And you know what hurts. You're well versed in pain and traumas, but you don't really know what healing feels like. And that's what I want to shift today, because you deserve to experience love, not just be out here just trying to avoid pain. You deserve to be guided by what you desire and not haunted by what you fear. And baby girl, it starts with awareness. So before we move on, I want to leave you with a question to just sit with, not from judgment, but from curiosity. When was the last time you let yourself be fully present in something new, without comparing it to what came before it, without comparing it to a different experience or comparing that person to somebody else? When was the last time you let yourself be fully present? When was the last time you allowed someone or something to just be good without being on high alert? Because sometimes it's not that your standards are too high or your intuition is off. It's your nervous system doesn't yet know how to rest and to be in peace instead of preparing for impact. And that's what we're going to unpack next, how this constant need to protect yourself, even in the smallest, subtlest of ways, how this starts to rewire your brain and your body and your energy. And then I'll show you how to start retraining your brain and your body to lead with discernment instead of fear, so you can begin to feel safe enough to receive what you've been praying for. So if you've been listening to my podcast, which most of you have, this is just going to be a refresher. This is not new to you, but your brain is loyal to whatever you focus on. It doesn't care that the focus comes from fear or if it comes from faith. It just takes direction. And there's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, or RAS for short. And think of it like your personal assistant. It's always filtering through all the noise around you to show you what it thinks matters most. So if you tell your brain, I don't want to get hurt, it doesn't process the don't. It hears get hurt. If you say, I don't want to waste my time, it may start to highlight situations that might look like time wasters. And this is in no way to punish you. Your brain is really trying to protect you. Your brain is simply trying to prepare you for what it believes is important. But here's the tricky part, okay? When your emotional tone is rooted in fear or defense, your brain keeps filtering for more of that same energy. It's like tuning your radio to a station that only plays songs about disappointment. And because that's what you're emotionally familiar with, it starts to feel normal. So you keep singing versions of the same story, the same person, even when you've done the work. That's why healing can feel repetitive sometimes, not because you're failing or you're doing it wrong, but because your focus hasn't shifted yet. And so think of it like this. Your thoughts are the language of your mind, but your emotions are the language of your body. And so when those two are aligned around fear, your subconscious organizes everything around staying safe, not around being open, not around being receptive. So your body stays slightly guarded. Your tone stays slightly braced, and opportunities that would have felt good can start to feel risky. They can start to feel dangerous simply because they're unfamiliar. So the moment you begin shifting your focus from what you're avoiding to what you're allowing, everything inside of you starts to reorganize and shift. And by no means am I saying you got to pretend everything's perfect. I am just saying, start retraining your body and your mind to believe that peace is possible again and that you don't have to micromanage the outcome to stay safe. And that's when your nervous system starts to relax. That's when your brain starts looking for confirmation of safety instead of danger. And that's when you start experiencing a different kind of connection. And it's not because the world changed magically. The world didn't change. The people didn't change, but what you attract changes, what you entertain changes. You've changed. And that brings us here to the part that I wish more people would talk about more. And it's the energy behind your words, because the way you speak about what you want determines how your energy signals it. And you can always feel when someone's speaking from traumas and their triggers and their past experiences. Like, they might sound confident, they may look confident, but the energy behind them, that ain't gonna lie. That never lies. Your energy never lies. And those words and the energy behind them, you can feel the tension. So you can say, I'm ready for love, but if your body's braced, it's not receiving. You can say, I'm open to something real, but if your mind is still scanning for red flags, your energy is quietly saying beneath that, prove it. That's what your energy is saying. So you're saying I'm open, but your energy is saying prove it. It's contradicting each other. And that's the thing about healing. Your words can change before your energy does. And you'll see a lot of that, especially on social media. And sometimes the body just takes a little longer to believe what the mouth is saying. That's okay sometimes. A lot of us are speaking from pain, but calling it standards. And we say things like, I refuse to get played again. I'm not entertaining inconsistency. I'm not wasting my time. Which is cool, but every one of those statements keeps your focus on the very thing that you don't want to repeat, girl. Let's just be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. And so when you start shifting towards language that reflects peace instead of this hypervigilance and this protection and this defense, everything in your nervous system starts to calm down. And you'll notice you'll move from saying, I don't want to get hurt, to I'm ready for something emotionally safe. Doesn't that feel different? That lands differently. You'll hear yourself saying, instead of I'm not chasing anyone, to I'm available for effort that feels mutual, that feels reciprocal. Do you feel the difference? One is tense, it's rooted in fear, it's rooted in trauma. The other is soft and it's receptive and it's open. One makes you guard up, the other lets you breathe. And we know language isn't just communication, it's frequency. And your energy is always translating the message before your words ever leave your mouth, before they ever land, before they ever resonate with the other person. Your energy carries these words. And that's why the real work is training your nervous system to feel safe enough to receive the love you keep asking for. And another thing I've noticed, when you spend too much time leading with what you don't want, you kind of start to forget what you do want, what you do desire. You can always tell when a woman's been in defense mode for a long time. She's healed, so she says. She's very aware. She knows all the language. She follows all the psychology pages. She could diagnose people if she really wanted to, but she's tired. Everything she consumes, everything she shares, everything she says is built around protection. And listen, girl, have your standards, keep your boundaries, pay attention, keep your head on a swivel. Okay. Don't be out here being green. Just don't live your whole life waiting for something to go wrong. That's the difference. There's a difference between being wise and being weary. And when you lead with fear, your body stays on high alert. You walk into new rooms with old armor. You meet new people through old pain. You stay alert even when there's nothing to fix. And you call it intuition. You call it discernment, but sometimes it's just those old fears trying to keep you safe the only way they know how. And before you know it, you're not protecting your peace. You're just replaying your past in real time. And I get it. You've done the work. You have journaled. You've prayed. You've done EFT tapping. You've meditated. You've set boundaries. You went to therapy. You've blocked numbers. You've healed a lot. And I'm so proud of you. But even healing can turn into another kind of control when you don't trust peace yet. You keep managing your fear instead of letting yourself rest, letting yourself be at ease. And I don't know about you, but that's the kind of tired that lives deep in your bones, baby. You can't fix it with sleep. You can't fix it by popping a melatonin, okay? You can't fix it by taking some magnesium glycinate and getting 7 to 8 hours. Okay. That kind of tired, that type of exhaustion, it can only be softened by safety. It can only be healed through a calm nervous system. And sister, this next version of you is learning to stop scanning for red flags in peaceful moments. This next version of you is letting joy stay without waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's learning how to receive love without auditioning for it. Sis, this woman you are becoming is learning to be discerning without being defensive. She's learning how to have boundaries and still maintain her softness. She's learning how to trust herself without replaying every past mistake or every past hurt or trauma. And little by little, your body will start to remember what ease feels like, what peace feels like, what softness feels like, what alignment feels like. And peace will finally start to feel like your baseline again. Okay, so we've talked through all of the things, the awareness, the patterns, the energy. But sis, here's the truth I want you to take with you, okay? You can't keep talking about healing your nervous system while you're also feeding it chaos every day. You can't say you want healthy love while your timeline is filled with clips about what men aren't doing, who's getting played, why you should never text first. That stuff gets in your head more than you think. And you might call it entertainment. You might think it's harmless, but your brain doesn't know the difference, okay? Every scroll keeps you rehearsing the same story, and that's fear, that's defense, that's disappointment on repeat. So here's the grown woman move, okay? I want you to start curating your peace on purpose. If that means you have to mute, if you have to unfollow, if you have to limit the content that keeps you in survival mode, do that. You don't need to make an announcement or explain it to anybody. You're not better than them. You're just choosing something different now. And maybe it'll just be for this season. Who knows? But for right now, follow people who remind you of what's possible, not of what went wrong, not of your traumas, not of your triggers, not of your negative dating experiences or your bad relationships. Fill your space with voices that make you feel grounded, not guarded, because what you consume starts to shape what you expect and what you experience and how you perceive things. This week, I want you to try something simple. Okay, go through your timeline and pay attention to what happens in your body as you scroll. If you feel tense, if you feel irritated, if you feel on edge, if your blood pressure is raising, baby, that's a very clear sign. Okay, start cleaning house. All right. Protecting your focus is part of your healing. And I want you to take this reflection prompt with you. You can feel free to journal it out or just sit with it. See how it resonates with you during the week. You can take it on a walk with you and just speak out loud in your voice notes app. But what spaces, conversations, or habits still feed the version of me that's always bracing for the worst? And what would it look like if I only fed the part of me that's ready for something better? Okay. And before we wrap up, I want to give you a second to just be, because sometimes you don't need more information. You just need a moment to feel safe in your own body again. So wherever you are, sitting in your car, walking, cooking dinner, just pause for a second. Take a slow inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And let's drop into a moment for her. Sis, I invite you to put one hand on your heart and one on your belly. And just let your shoulders drop. Unclench your jaw, unfurrow your brow. You may have been carrying a lot. You may have been protecting yourself for a long time, and I get it. But right here in this moment, you don't have to, okay? You're safe here. And I invite you to just breathe that in, knowing that you're safe here, knowing that you're held here, knowing that you're seen here, knowing that you're supported here. And take this with you. You don't have to watch for red flags. You don't have to rehearse every possible outcome. You don't have to be hyper-vigilant. You don't have to shrink just because love feels unfamiliar. Right now, in this moment, all you have to do is receive. And I invite you to take another breath, slow inhale, fill your belly and your diaphragm. Long exhale through your mouth and just feel your body settle. Feel it relax. Feel your shoulders melt. Feel your hips melt. And I invite you to repeat after me. I no longer lead with fear. My peace protects me. My discernment guides me. And my softness is safe here. Just let that sit for a second. Let it move through you. Let it resonate as truth. Allow it to resonate as truth. You don't have to be on guard anymore, sis. You're learning a new way to be. And this way is grounded, it's peaceful, it's confident, it's discerning. And it's safe enough to let good things in. And so it is. Sister, thank you so much for hanging with your girl today, okay? If this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend who's also learning to lead with peace and confidence and discernment rather than fear and anxiety and traumas, okay? And do me a favor before you go, please leave me a written 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. The written part matters. It helps other women find this space. And when you do, you can email me a screenshot of your review to hello@ashleyhope.co. And I'll send you my Soft Life Frequency Subliminal as a thank you. Also, make sure you subscribe to the show so you get notified when I drop a new episode. I will be dropping another Sunday coffee chat, hint, hint. So make sure you subscribe so you'll get notified. If you want to go deeper with me, you can always book a coffee date. The link is in the show notes. Sister, I love you. Take care of your nervous system. Keep your heart open, and I'll see you in the next episode. I'm Ashley Hope, and you've been listening to Evolving Into Her. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for choosing her, for choosing yourself. And until next time, stay in devotion to your becoming.